Hello, designers. I hope that you are all having a wonderful week. Um, Last week we talked about people who've uh, who've been incredibly successful growing and evolving within a company. And let me just someone had wrote me a comment after our discussion last week. Um, Employers, this is the ideal person that every company would hope for. Someone who is capable of understanding a company and all their facets and being able to evolve with a company. This is if you have been someone, any one of you, if you've been successful as a creative professional, creative change agent, and been able to grow and evolve within a company, you're one of the lucky few. This is what every company looks for. And yet, on the other hand, if you once you've been with one company for so long, there are challenges there. So today, I wanted to talk about a different type of archetype. Oh, you know what? I think I just went ahead and started talking about topics for the day, and I didn't go over who I am and what I do. For those of you who don't know, I'm Angela Yeh. The founder of Yeh Ideologies, talent strategies, and design recruitment, and our Thrive by Design masterclass program for creative professionals to evolve their career through our career strategy methods. Been working with professionals for a very long time, more than 20 years, and I've seen all these different types of patterns that people move through in their career. And by the way, there is no right or wrong. It's what starts to evolve and it's what starts to happen. And I think for anyone, if we're moving through our career in a certain way and if we're doing great, then you just, keep doing what you're doing, growing, learning new skills, evolving. But if there's a point where you're starting to notice you may not be reaching, maybe and let me just say one thing. For creative professionals, there's a unique challenge that I find. It's an added level of complexity that other professions don't really have that higher bar. I think for creative professionals, the higher challenge is finding work that resonates with you, that's creative, that's intuitive, that's strategic. It's collaborative, because I think in the world of design, so much of what we do, we need to do this in conjunction, in collaboration with others that have complementary skills, right? Um, if we're talking about a design profession, it's not just doing work that we resonate with ourselves as a creative, but there's a business perspective to it. I've been talking about design. When people talk about passion to purpose, I think passion to purpose to profession, that from passion to profession, that overlapping Venn diagram, it's hard to find that balance sometimes. There are times where you can find that creativity outlet, but maybe not so much as a profession. And sometimes people will find themselves evolving into the profession piece of it, and then finding that there's times where they lose the love of the craft, they lose the love of the work. There's all kinds of, tendencies and patterns that tend to form in this industry. So today I wanted to talk about people who, getting into this industry is one thing. I think everybody has that story about what happens when you step into this industry. But I feel like what's not talked about enough is it, l- let me just say that it's a challenging industry for people to sustain a career in. There are more and more people discovering design today. This design meaning the umbrella of design, whether it's industrial design, UX, strategy, service design, business, user experience, human factors, the engineering side. There's so many facets to this industry and so many sectors to it. But there are more people coming into this industry every day. I mean, it's so beautiful. For anyone who's a creative, when you can imagine, if you think back, once you know what it feels like, what it tastes like to design, to solve a problem, to create a solution, how can you ever go back to life as you knew it prior to being less creative and less strategic? Who could ever go back to that? So in my work, I think I've talked to so many people on the kind of on the second half of their career path, people who have been in this industry, been in roles, whether it's on a corporate side or consultancy or running their own agency or running their own business. And I've seen people who've made impact in so many sectors of this industry. And there's a point where, you know, sustaining your career and maintaining your grab hold and your position in this industry, I find there are a lot of people where sometimes holding on to sustaining your career in this industry can get hard. I've met people actually where they've lost the love. I've met some people who have been incredibly successful, rise up the ranks, move up to management and leadership. Some people finding that while they've moved up the ladder, they don't love that leadership management role enough that, you know, they lose they miss that hands-on work, right? Some people call it player coach or in the business world, but in design, in the creative space, it's, you know, hands-on leader, hands-on creative, management. But I've met people who have moved up the ranks and actually left the industry because they couldn't find those leadership roles or their high principal roles where they could sustain a career in design. I've seen people where they've moved to nonprofit. I've met people who've gone to the business side, some loving it and evolving and thriving in that space, and some not. I've seen people, I remember someone moving into the nonprofit space and actually thinking that that's where they wanted to go. And then after a couple of years, realizing that it just wasn't as compelling and engaging enough for them. And they felt that need to come back. Getting back, re-entering and breaking back into the industry can be a challenge sometimes. Recently been working with some professionals where, you know what, came to me and told me, I don't know what, I've met someone who's gone into politics in that space where someone had been not a mayor, a councilman, and been in that world where they're trying to bring together so many differing parties using our design thinking, design strategy, business strategy, aptitude, and bringing a community together, doing really well at that, but still missing that added level of complexity that you can find in design, where there's aesthetic sensibility, technical, mechanical, project management, business analysis, so much, right? Sourcing, I mean, just user experience data, there's so much to this that's so fascinating, that keeps our interest in this world. So what happens? I think that most of the people who I find when we have these discussions about leaving the industry and coming back these are people who are senior. It happens more often. Well, it happens at all phases. Some people leave the industry younger or earlier, and there's some that have had a long history in this industry, and then move on. What do I had an outline, but I'm going off script I'm trying to frame a concept and an idea for you. I think that no matter where you are in your career, you've got to always find out and listen to what resonates for you. And what resonates changes over time. I think what drew us to this industry of design, if you look at your career path, if you've been in this industry for some time, what may have initially drawn you to this industry may not be the thing that interests you anymore. Your own passions, your own skills and expertise, what fascinates you, these things evolve over time. And sometimes it's, there's different ways to look at what you've accomplished. There's different ways to look at your expertise. But then there's also sometimes admitting that that passion for that thing is over. I mean, it happens. Uh, I mean, here's an analogy that's not so direct, but I remember when I was young and in college, and I loved pottery. I loved working with my hands and sculpture and physical, tactile things. Throwing pottery was not my thing. And I so desperately wanted to master it. But I couldn't. No matter how I tried, I could not center myself, stay focused enough to master that. And then spin forward to years later, probably like 15 years later, there was a pottery center studio near me, and I went back and took some courses, and all of a sudden I was really good at it. And in fact, in my group, in my class, in this whole entire studio, people are like, you could start doing, exhibitions. You could start doing, I was really good at it. But the fascinating thing was, while I finally was able to master it, somehow the love of that craft expired for me. It dissipated the interest. And so I meet people where I've seen this happen, where for some people, could it be even the love of the craft of design, that you've seen it in every possible perspective and you've lost that interest? That's something that you want to be able to just give yourself grace and compassion for and say, I'm no longer interested in that. That's okay. Because when you're able to let go of that, you then make room for something different and something else for you to wrap your head around and, get excited about. Being open to something new. We're always evolving. I think that sometimes we label ourselves designers, and sometimes to me, this is the new, way. What is it? 50 years ago, it was acting, right? Everybody wanted to be the star actor. And we now know with social media that everybody and myself, we're out there having to represent our thought leadership or concepts or whatever we're trying to represent. Um, you know, used to be there was only Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and everybody was competing. Now you've got everybody having a voice and a platform. Here I am. And design, I feel like, is the new creative space. There's a lot of people wanting to come into this. And so to me, if you really want to be successful, I want you to think about the other side of this. Having been a recruiter, having worked between employers and talent, and the same thing goes for business owners or customers that want your expertise. It's hard for them, customers, employers, or clients, or whatever that customer base would be for you, for them to know how to choose you. Okay. So the more you develop an understanding of your expertise, the more you can guide yourself through your career. So in the last, in our program, Thrive by Design, I've actually been helping quite a few people reevaluate coming back into this industry, understanding what, there are people who've left and wanted to know, do I still have it in me to find my place? I love that one of our Thrivers most recently this year, Jeff, had been really successful, ran a lot of companies, led them as a design director, a VP of design, helped these companies grow, build teams. And then at some point felt like he wanted to try something different and left the design world. But then doing that, going into that, he realized that it wasn't interesting for him being in that space of councilman and wanting to go back into design. He didn't know really where were the best opportunities, because his interest had evolved, his passions have evolved, and how the world might see him. They're understanding what kind of customers were right for him. And I'm excited to say that for Jeff, he's back in consulting and leading companies in a very different business model than the way he was before. He's being able to consult and advise on a very high level, earning high six figures. and still being able to consult and advise and then work on other creative endeavors. We have other people where they wonder, do I have it left in me to stay in this industry, to even come back in? And we're helping people go from consultancy to corporate world. You know what I love about this industry that is that professionals in this space, money is not a top priority. When you know what it feels like to do something that you love, that gives you personal intrinsic value, there's something there that money can't replace. But I want to remind you that this is possible to also find work that you love, but also make money at it. I've actually heard someone who's a well-known professor tell students that if you love this craft, you have to be ready to sacrifice a quality of life. And I beg to differ. I mean, I think that certainly it's a higher added level of challenge to find work that you resonate with. That passion to purpose to profession, that trifecta is definitely a higher level challenge, but not impossible. In fact, I've helped so many people find that balance. And just something else I want you to think about. What resonates for you? Hi, Holly. I just see a comment from Holly Sharp. I can't make the whole presentation. Is it possible to get a copy? Yes. So this LinkedIn Live is recorded. You will see it in my comments below. So follow me, go down, you'll see it that we've had it featured. Okay. So what someone else has mentioned, money. Yes. This industry, there are professionals that are making, I find a lot of professionals in design hovering around the 100s, either hitting 100 and then falling back down, or not understanding how to evolve beyond it. And that is about understanding a nuanced understanding of your expertise, what matters to you, what are the skills and expertise that you want to build and evolve. Oftentimes, let me just say, whatever skill sets you've built to get into this industry, chances are, while it brought you in, these are probably not necessarily the same combinations of abilities that will allow you to sustain your career in this industry. You personally evolve, mature, change. Let's be honest, this industry is changing so rapidly. I mean, even let's talk about this market right now. We are moving into an era where so much chaos and change is going to be affecting every industry. And as a result, these businesses in any industry and sector, they're going to see design in a different way. Many of them are not going to think about wanting to create and design new product or services. This is about sustaining their businesses now, and finding new grab holds for them, new solutions. For those of you who are re-entering, you have legacy, you have expertise that lots of young professionals don't have, that seasoned understanding of what it takes to build business long term. So there's expertise there that you can bring to the table. What kinds of companies will value and want your expertise? That's something else you want to look at. Like, as a senior, seasoned executive leader, design professional, how do you re-enter? How are you being seen? You want to be clear in knowing how people see you. All right. And knowing how to frame. This is about framing for yourself first before you frame for others, so that you know which opportunities are worth chasing. I hope that this discussion has made sense for anyone that's listening. I would say that there are more needs now by the business world for design, strategic, creative professionals, change agents, to be able to help them solve their problems. But you need to know how they're seeing you or not seeing you. You need to know where the opportunities are, which companies are worthy of your expertise, so that you can be selective about what kind of opportunities to pursue. All right. So this is the kind of work that I do when I work with people in our Thrive by Design program. If this is something that you're interested in, I've seen people take years to try to get back into the industry on the topic of breaking back into this design industry. If you want to do this in an incredible amount of time with a strategic method that's proven, I welcome you to check out our website, thrivebydesign.today. All right. So I hope that everyone is having a great week and looking forward to Thanksgiving next week. On that note, just really, I know we're going to talk about Thanksgiving next week, but I just want to say so grateful for my team and the people that have gravitated to the cause that we believe in. I do believe that everyone has the right and to thrive in their career and make impact. I think this is what we all strive for. I think this is our lifelong existential goals. And if you have the right tools and methods, you can reach that point. So look to see what you need. Look for the support team that is there to support you. And I'm so grateful for my team and everything that they bring to us. Have a great day, everyone. All right. Bye.